Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the most captivating and emotionally charged updates from the heart of Genoa City. Today is a thrilling day to dive into the tangled webs of passion, betrayal, and corporate warfare that define our favorite families. Let us explore the explosive dynamics currently threatening to shatter the fragile peace between the Abbotts and the Newmans. The hallowed halls of Jabot Cosmetics have long served as the battleground for some of Genoa City's most vicious corporate and personal wars, but the latest conflict brewing within its walls threatens to tear the Abbott family apart from the inside out. Diane Jenkins Abbott, a woman who has fought tooth and nail to secure her place beside Jack and to protect her family's legacy, is currently vibrating with a profound, maternal paranoia. The fragile peace she has painstakingly cultivated is being threatened by an incredibly dangerous new alliance, one that merges the volatile ambitions of her son, Kyle Abbott, with the icy, calculating allure of Victoria Newman. Diane watches with mounting dread as Kyle eagerly embraces a highly unorthodox business proposal from the Newman heiress, a move that Diane instinctively knows is laced with hidden agendas and catastrophic potential. The historical animosity between their two dynasties is a blood feud that spans generations, and Diane is terrified that her son is blindly walking into a trap that will inevitably drag Jack and the entire Abbott empire into a devastating crossfire. Diane's psychological turmoil is rooted in a deep, agonizing understanding of how the Newman family operates. She knows all too well that Victor Newman's children are raised to view the Abbotts not as partners, but as prey, and she cannot fathom why Kyle is so enthusiastically willing to invite a Newman into their inner sanctum. Her maternal instincts are screaming that this new business venture is merely a smokescreen for something far more insidious, a Trojan horse designed to exploit Kyle's current vulnerabilities and emotional instability. Diane is acutely aware of the chaos currently swirling around Kyle, particularly the devastating fallout from Claire Newman's leaked abortion and the subsequent public humiliation. She sees Victoria not as a savior or a legitimate business partner, but as a predatory opportunist, swooping in to manipulate a fractured young man for her own corporate or deeply personal gain. The thought of her son being used as a pawn in whatever twisted rebellion Victoria is launching against her father is enough to ignite a fierce, protective rage within Diane's soul. Unable to sit idly by, while her son flirts with absolute disaster, Diane makes the bold and dangerous decision to take matters into her own hands. She marches through the sleek, modern corridors of Jabot, the very epicenter of the Abbott legacy, her every step fueled by a desperate need to neutralize the threat before it can take root. She is not just a concerned mother, she is the matriarch of the Abbott family, fiercely determined to defend her territory against Newman encroachment. When Diane finally corners Victoria within the corporate offices, the atmosphere instantly turns suffocatingly tense. The air crackles with the unspoken history of their family's bitter rivalry as these two powerful, uncompromising women face off. Diane does not mince words, launching into a blistering interrogation of Victoria's true motives, her voice laced with a venomous clarity that demands absolute transparency. Diane's accusations are sharp and unforgiving, cutting straight through Victoria's carefully constructed professional facade. She aggressively challenges the validity of this sudden business partnership, openly suggesting that Victoria is utilizing Kyle as a convenient tool to achieve a sinister corporate advantage, or, even worse, to satisfy a twisted personal vendetta. Diane paints a damning picture of Victoria as a manipulative puppeteer, entirely willing to destroy Kyle's life and the Abbott family's stability just to score points in whatever internal war she is currently fighting with Victor. The confrontation is a masterclass in emotional warfare, with Diane leveraging every ounce of her maternal authority to expose what she believes is a toxic, predatory agenda. She makes it abundantly clear that she sees right through the corporate jargon and the promises of mutual benefit, recognizing the undeniable, dangerous spark that has ignited between Victoria and her son. Victoria, however, is not a woman who easily crumbles under pressure. Raised under the iron fist of Victor Newman, she has spent a lifetime perfecting an impenetrable, icy exterior designed to deflect even the most vicious attacks. In the face of Diane's blistering assault, Victoria stands her ground with a chilling composure, her posture rigid and her gaze unyielding. She coldly dismisses Diane's frantic accusations, projecting an aura of supreme confidence and absolute control. Victoria vehemently denies any malicious intent, insisting with an unnerving calmness that her business proposal is entirely legitimate and that her feelings regarding the partnership are authentic. She attempts to flip the script, subtly painting Diane as an overbearing, paranoid mother who is projecting her own historical insecurities onto a perfectly innocent, mutually beneficial professional arrangement. Beneath that frozen exterior, however, Victoria is fighting a desperate, chaotic internal battle. Her connection with Kyle is far from innocent. It is a reckless, intoxicating rebellion against the suffocating control her father exerts over every aspect of her existence. Victoria is drowning in the pressures of her family name, and Kyle represents a dangerous, forbidden escape, a toxic solace that she is increasingly unable to resist. While she fiercely defends her motives to Diane, a part of her knows that this entanglement is a catastrophic mistake, a ticking time bomb that will inevitably detonate and destroy everything in its path. Yet, the thrill of the taboo, the desperate need to feel something outside of Victor's omnipresent shadow, compels her to double down, refusing to back away from the precipice even as Diane aggressively tries to push her back. The confrontation reaches a fever pitch as Diane refuses to accept Victoria's polished denials. Driven by a primal, maternal ferocity, Diane issues a chilling, unequivocal warning, her words hanging in the air like a death sentence. She demands that Victoria stay away from Kyle, warning her that she will not allow her son to become collateral damage in a Newman family civil war. Diane draws a definitive line in the sand, promising apocalyptic consequences if Victoria continues to manipulate Kyle or drag the Abbott family into her destructive orbit. It is a desperate plea disguised as a threat, a mother's final attempt to shield her child from a storm she knows he cannot survive. Diane leaves the office with her heart pounding against her ribs, a sickening sense of dread settling in her stomach as she realizes that Victoria is completely undeterred, and that Kyle is already dangerously entranced by the Newman heiress's toxic pull. The heavy, suffocating tension left in the wake of Diane's departure acts as a bizarre, intoxicating catalyst for the events that follow. As the heavy office doors close, isolating Kyle and Victoria in the quiet sanctuary of Jabbo, the professional boundaries they have desperately tried to maintain begin to violently disintegrate. The adrenaline from the confrontation, the shared thrill of defying Diane's explicit warnings, and the undeniable, magnetic attraction that has been simmering between them suddenly reach a boiling point. The corporate facade crumbles entirely, replaced by a raw, consuming desire that neither of them can control. They are two damaged, reckless souls standing on the edge of a cliff, fully aware of the destruction that awaits them at the bottom, yet entirely unable to stop themselves from jumping. The shift in the atmosphere is palpable, the air growing thick with unspoken longing and dangerous intent. Kyle, fueled by a mixture of anger at his mother's interference and a desperate need for the intoxicating distraction Victoria provides, closes the distance between them. There is no hesitation, no rational thought of the devastating consequences, only a blinding, overwhelming need to surrender to the forbidden. When their lips finally meet, it is a collision of epic proportions, a passionate, desperate embrace that shatters every rule and crosses every boundary. The kiss is fierce and consuming, a physical manifestation of their shared rebellion and their mutual, destructive need for an escape from their chaotic lives. As they lose themselves in the illicit embrace, the reality of their surroundings begins to fade away, replaced by a consuming heat that threatens to burn the entire Jabot building to the ground. The kiss deepens, becoming more frantic, more urgent, as they desperately cling to one another in the shadows of the corporate office. Hands wander with reckless abandon, shedding the professional attire that has served as their armor, as they inch closer and closer to the point of no return. Clothes begin to slip, the physical intimacy escalating at a terrifying speed, driven by a raw, unadulterated passion that completely eclipses any lingering sense of morality or self-preservation. They are entirely consumed by the moment, blissfully ignorant of the apocalyptic storm they are conjuring with every touch. The psychological implications of this physical act are staggering, a betrayal of such magnitude that it threatens to permanently alter the landscape of Genoa City. By surrendering to this forbidden romance, Kyle and Victoria are not just crossing a professional line, they are declaring war on their respective families. They are deliberately provoking the ultimate, terrifying wrath of Victor Newman, a man who will stop at nothing to punish anyone who dares to compromise his daughter or his empire. More tragically, They are driving a stake directly into the heart of Claire Newman, a young woman who has already endured unimaginable trauma and is now unknowingly standing on the precipice of the ultimate betrayal. Claire, who has finally found a fragile sense of belonging, is about to be shattered by the two people she trusted most, her mother and her former lover, united in a devastating deception. As the passionate, forbidden embrace continues in the hidden corners of Jabot, the audience is left breathless, suspended in a moment of agonizing suspense. Will they realize the catastrophic magnitude of their mistake and pull away before it is too late, or will they surrender completely to their toxic desires, stripping away the last remnants of their clothing and their sanity? The ticking time bomb of their secret romance has been activated, and the countdown to absolute devastation has begun. The shadows of Victor's impending vengeance and Claire's inevitable heartbreaking destruction loom large over the lovers, promising a reckoning that will leave Genoa City forever changed, a dramatic crescendo that perfectly encapsulates the tragic, beautiful, and utterly ruthless world of the young and the restless.